I'm Shelley.
And I'm Victoria.
And today we have the lovely Zena Birch.
Hello.
Everybody. So, Zena is an amazing wedding celebrant. If you don't know what a wedding celebrant is, Zena is going to explain it all. But basically, when you get married, you have to have someone to marry you. Now, that could just be me.
No.
Or you can have a person of the cloth.
You can have a person of the cloth, for sure.
Yes. Or a registrar.
Yes, you can have a registrar.
Now, the thing with having a registrar, my own personal kind of viewpoint.
Not mine.
It's a bit boring and impersonal. I quite like a church wedding. I like a man or lady of the cloth because it's a bit more pomp and circumstance.
Yes, it has
and
ritual and tradition.
Yes, and a bit more personal. So, obviously, in this country, the UK that is, there are rules and regulations about getting married. So you can't just get married anywhere you like.
Unless you have a humanist celebrant.
But legally, you can't get married outdoors or indoors with just Zena. But if you're in Scotland...
Yes, you can, and Northern Ireland, and Jersey. Just England and Wales.
England and Wales. We're so behind the times.
Yeah.
So tell us the legal implications, because I know that you've been involved quite heavily recently of trying to get the law changed in the UK.
Been in the House of Parliament and everything.
Amazing. Check your watch.
No.
Order.
And I was so scared. I was like, I might like talking out loud, but I suddenly don't. So at the moment, sadly, even though it is so easy to do this in Scotland, there are different marriage laws in England and Wales, and they're slightly more antiquated and they're slightly more difficult to bend, although not that difficult, and they should be doing it soon. In England and Wales, if you want to have a humanist ceremony, you still have to sign your legal papers, as you pointed out, separately. Most people do that with a simple statutory marriage ceremony, nice registrar, nice local office, probably do it on Tuesday, go for a lovely lunch, and then you don't have to carry your passport with you anymore because all the legal stuff is done. And then when it comes to the ceremony, your wedding day, where you've invited your 120 of your favourite people, the people who've got your back, your support network, the people it counts in front of, then you get to use someone like me. What I think the difference is when I first started doing this, because the first couple I married were people I knew, and I still knew I didn't know them enough. Mm-hmm. It then made all the sense in the world to me that when I was meeting people who were essentially strangers, there was no way I would be able to glean the stuff I wanted to do, to be able to do the job the way I like to do it. And you can sit down and you can chat, and you get loads of information that way. And also just watching the way that couples interact with each other, always. And don't be put off by this, but I'm always sort of just absorbing that and seeing how it works. Stalker, professional stalker. But it's also about reflection, I think. And when people do come to get married, it's funny because you eventually end up finding that you're actually becoming an event planner. That's not necessarily what your skill is, nor is it what you want to do. You just want to get married. Yeah. And so along the way, sometimes I think you can lose the reason why it was you were even getting married because you're too busy sorting out all of these things that aren't familiar to you. And so what I like to think is that my job, my homework, the process I get to go on with couples is bringing them back to focus and being like, why are we doing this? And we don't get to stop and think about answering our own questions that often. We all think we know, but to be asked to stop still and think is really good. And that's part of the process. So just getting people to focus on why it is they're doing it. Then, for me to be able to stand up and conduct a ceremony that I think is going to genuinely explain why you're then going to go on and have a party and a piss up and all the brilliant stuff, which everyone is going to enjoy more when they know why they're there, then I need to be able to not just stand there and be clever with words and be, oh, look at her speaking well about love. It's got nothing to do with that. It's about why am I standing in between the two people I'm standing in between of. And so to do that properly, I need to understand not just their combined voice, but who they are individually. And then be able to represent to all the people who've been gathered the reason they're getting married from both their point of views in a tone of voice that people out there are recognising. And then what ends up happening is we make something. And that is essentially what ritual, tradition, ceremony itself is all about. It's about delineating a difference between the half hour before it and the half hour afterwards. And in that time, you do, I'm very biased about this, but you forge a foundation that is a little bit harder to break, I think. You're making a memory with everybody. And by the time you get to your vows, everybody in all of your guests, those who like know you the best, right the way to those who don't know you, maybe a +1 who's only ever met you twice, they should all get to the point where you're saying your vows and know why they're there. Then when you've said your vows, then when you've made that public declaration and asked everybody to hold you accountable and listen to that, they know why they're doing it. And it's not lip service, and it's not because I've cleverly written about the concept of marriage, it's because I've learned about you and what we're doing here. So it has to come with homework, because I can't make it up without that.
I'm sold. I'm in. Yeah, I'm there.
I mean, this is why we have her. She's just great.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, where do I sign?
Or we can have a registrar that
Not
just
very
goes, and so do you, take you, have you got a ring? Yeah? For me, every time it's Zena, but each to their own, man. Yeah, so if you want to know more about Celebrant Weddings, or you want to book Zena, you can find her online, on IG and Facebook, and on her lovely website. It's been bloody marvellous. This has been the lovely Zena Birch.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. It's been awesome.
Pleasure.
And we've been the Wedding Vibe. And we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.